Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Dante, or you can call me that Bookish Guy. So in this video, I'm participating in Sobat Indihome First Booktube Challenge, which I think is a fantastic opportunity for myself and for those who want to start their own booktube channels. Since everyone is given their own freedom to create their own content, so today I'm going to talk about the books that I have read in this month and my TBR list for the month of February. So without further ado, here we go. So there were 4 books that I read this month. The first one was Sharp Objects. The second one was Long Road to Mercy. The third one was I Am Legend. And the last one was Troubled Blood. And today, I'm going to talk 2 of them that were my favorite of this month. And they are I Am Legend and Troubled Blood. So first, I'm going to talk about Troubled Blood by Robert Galbraith. So this first novel, I gave it 4 out of 5, and the reason is because I enjoyed this novel so much despite being the thickest book in my entire reading history. So what I like the most from this novel is how complex it is and the astrological aspect that the author put into it. I thought that, making sense out of the nonsensical, was interesting. And in addition to that, I also enjoy the partnership between Coraline and Robin. I think out of the entire series, this one is the most positive, and I'm glad that they're finally stepping into a better relationship. So the only thing that probably I would recommend if you want to read this book is that probably half the time and half the patience, because this book is really thick and it's really long, and if you can, try to make notes so that you might be able to remember the names, the interviews, who's who, what is being said, and etc. So the second best book in this one for me is Richard Mason's I Am Legend. I give this book 4.5 out of 5. I Am Legend follows a man named Robert Neville and his struggle to survive in this apocalyptic world where most of humans are now vampires. So before I read this novel, I had actually watched the movie adaptation, the one with Will Smith. And at first I thought probably I would get something, the same. Apparently I was completely off. I think the movie is much more uplifting, whereas the book is so much more depressing. And the book here is also less action-packed than the movie. But despite being less action-packed, it is still deep. It is much more profound in terms of the meaning and the moments where the main character finally encounters animals or another human being. That's the main reason why I gave this 4.5 out of 5. The only reason why I gave this 4.5 out of 5, not 5, is because the sci-fi aspect. I found the sci-fi aspect of this novel a bit too difficult, although it was interesting. I mean, the author tried to take these legend of vampires from a logical standpoint, but regardless, I still found it a bit difficult and I had to use the internet to understand some of the things. But overall, still a great read and I do recommend it. So now I'm going to talk about my TBRs for the month of February. So the first book that I'm going to read in February is Secrets to the Grave by Tammy Hall. The story simply follows an FBI detective who has to solve a murder that takes place in a small town called Noel. But since this is a second novel in the Oak Knoll trilogy, I cannot say much about the synopsis. But I'm going to tell you that I enjoyed so much the first novel that is Deeper Than the Dead. I enjoyed it so much because it deals with criminal profiling and serial killers. So of course it was a thrilling experience and definitely suspenseful. So if you are a fan of something, serial killer, criminal profiling, or any FBI related, sure, go check ahead Tammy Hoag's Oak Knoll trilogy. So the next one on my TBR is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. The story basically follows Coraline, who finds a mysterious door that leads her to another world where there is another mother, another father, and another friend of her. The reason I bought this novel is because Coraline is my favorite childhood animated movie and Neil Gaiman is one of my favorite authors. There is something that I like about his world, that is, although told briefly, feels vast, magical, and at the same time terrifying. And you really know what I mean by terrifying, especially if you have read this novel. And you know, after reading American Gods, Man on the Sea Boys, and Neverwhere, I really wanted to know more about him and his work, and hence a purchase. And the third one in my TBR list is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. So the story follows a father and a son who's trying to find a place in an apocalyptic world, and this is supposed to be kind of like a horror story because it involves cannibals. To be honest with you, I've never read any of the work by Cormac McCarthy, but I already have 4 of his novels. This one, No Country for Old Men, Meridian Blood, and Child of God. So the reason I still bought all of his novels is because I enjoyed so much the movie adaptation of No Country for Old Men, which stars Josh Brolin, Tommy Lee Jones, and Javier Bardem. There is something that I like about its depiction about, you know, despair and death that just somehow ring true to me, and that's the reason why I impulsively bought all of his 4 work. The last novel on my TBR for the month of February is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson. Just like the Secrets to the Grave book, I can't pretty much spoil since this is the second in the series, but what I can tell you briefly about the previous novel is that the story basically follows a young girl named Spencer who has a dream to become a pilot to defend his home from the attack of an alien race called Coraline. But she finds it difficult because of her father's past. So the reason I bought the second one is, of course, obviously because I enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed the aerial dogfights, the jet war that Brandon Sanderson managed to pull off. Because at first I thought it was going to be a failure, because usually we see aerial dogfights in movies, not reading them in books. But apparently I was wrong, and it was truly an amazing experience. In addition to that, I found his writing style to be accessible and I enjoyed it so much, so I decided to read most of his novels as my introduction towards the fantasy genre, other than Neil Gaiman's, of course. So that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you want to know more about me, you can try to contact me from my Bookstagram account at @bookish_guy. There I post my reviews, photos, and then just my thoughts on books, and sometimes my daily routine as a bookish guy. So that's all from me right now, and thank you, and see you in the next video.